And here we are, folks. We are live. My name's Jack. Welcome to the Happiness Habit. Thank you very much for tuning in. Everybody got their coffee? All right, let's do this. If if you think for a moment that this is stress-free and easy, and it's like chewing gum, and it is. The clock starts going, it gets closer to 8 a.m. and it's like, okay, everything wants to not work suddenly at the same time. Oh, it's funny. And it doesn't get any better. And every Sunday I tell myself, okay, next Sunday, fill in the blank. And it doesn't get better. If you think I'm pulling your leg, try it sometime. It's unbelievable. There's the book, the website, jetcarterbooks.com. Before we start with today's topic, let's do two things. One, let's take a deep breath right now, and wherever you are sitting, maybe you're in your living room, maybe you're in your bedroom, wherever your desk is, or your phone, wherever. Let's just take a moment and let everything just kind of settle for a moment. Yeah. Let's just kind of take a deep breath, and wherever I am, I can look around, and I can see where I'm at. Okay, I'm in this room. I'm in my living room. I'm in my dining room. Wherever I am, I'm seated in a chair. I can feel the chair. My feet are on the floor. I can feel my feet on the floor. I'm on the couch. I'm resting. I'm just sipping a coffee early on a Sunday, a quiet Sunday morning, right? And just kind of settle. And we do this because we want to come home to ourselves. We want to become self-aware. We want to get into a state of self-awareness. Doesn't matter what other people are doing, or the dog wants to eat. Well, the dog just ate 10 minutes ago. The cat wants some attention. Okay, kitty, you'll have to wait a little bit, right? And you come over to me and I'll pet you, but other than that, you're going to have to wait. There's always something going on. The fish need to be fed, right? The aquarium, the neighbors beating on the door. There's always something going on. But Sunday mornings, it's a nice time to just sit quietly, and you can watch your thoughts, you can watch your emotions, you can watch your breathing, right? With every breath you take, you can be observing yourself in action. And that's the first thing I wanted to start with. The second thing, briefly, is we're going to take care of a little business first. Then we'll get into the topic. The second point of business is a viewer, wrote in at the end of the session last Sunday, and she asked, great question. She asked, what is self-observation? You know, you have 45 minutes. I'll run it down to you. Self-observation is awareness. It's your own personal awareness. That's all it is. Nature herself, the cosmos, the universe wants us to be alert and alive and aware as we go through life, as we, live our life. When we're in a state of awareness, we can actually enjoy life. When we're in a state of psychological slumber, when we're sleeping, We think we're awake. I mean, I must be awake. I'm walking around, I'm going to work, I'm talking to my wife, whatever, but we're actually asleep. Psychologically, we are asleep. Emotionally, we are asleep. If I get angry, if I express anger, I am emotionally asleep, because anger is a painful state and nature doesn't want us to suffer ever, not even the tiniest bit. So the whole message, the entire purpose that this channel exists, there's the coffee maker, is to help people, anyone who, this is not for everybody, not even close, but there are few and far between. There is the occasional individual who says, I want that. I can hear what he's saying and I want that. And if that's you, get down on your hands and knees and kiss the ground 1,000 times, because you're really fortunate. What was it? Blessed is he who has ears to hear and eyes to see, because you're one in a million. And I don't say that to stroke your ego. We're not here to stroke your false self. We're here to dissolve your false self by way of self-observation. Self-observation, when you're observing yourself, your ego is in, the clutch has been pushed in. Your ego is in neutral. Your ego is not at the fore running you through life. We all know people with big egos who their ego pulls them through life like a V8 engine, and they run into one problem after another. Or they come in and they just bulldoze their way into things. Maybe you have relatives like that. In the past, I dealt with relatives who were like that. My mom, for some reason, had a lot of cousins. I called them Art or Uncle so-and-so and Aunt so-and-so. My mom had a lot of cousins, and I would call them Uncle and Aunt because they're older, but a lot of them were narcissists. A lot of them, like a whole, which is genetic. It can be learned behaviorally and environmentally, narcissism, but it's primarily genetic. It's like 80, 85, 90% genetic. It's in your genes. You're either born a narcissist or you're not, for the most part. And those people there would be a family function, and I was just a boy and I would dread it. I was like, oh, we don't have to do that, do we? Do we really have to go? My mom would be talking about it for 2 weeks before the actual event. And she'd said, yeah, you're going, because I was just a boy then. And I couldn't really tell her no. And I'd go and I'd observe these big adults, and they would just bulldoze their way into these family functions, these parties at somebody's house, and they would, hi, I'm here, everybody, ha, 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 ha. And then they'd have their laughing. And I hated it because it was so false and so phony. Even at a young age, I could see right through it. I was like, you guys are a bunch of effing phonies, right? You know anybody like this? I used to know a lot of people like that. When I see their type now, I just stay completely far away from them, because they're no good. It's all a big show. They're big phonies. So to answer the question, what is self-observation? It's simply watching myself in action. It's just observing myself. I reach for a pen. I know that I'm reaching for this pen. I know that the fingertips are holding this and dropping this pen. Okay. I can feel that this pen is, it's firm. It's very light, firm, smooth surface, right? Bic, whatever it says, Bic something. That the lettering is rough, but the most of the pen has a smooth plastic cylinder feel. It's very light. I love these pens. See, when I reach for something, I know that I'm reaching for it. When I'm sitting in the car and I'm driving, I know that I'm sitting in the car. Just now, when we started class, we slowed down. We did the slow down exercise. That's what it is. And that brings me back to myself. This is where nature wants me to be. This is where I was born to be. You and I were born to be, in a state of alertness, awareness, and relaxation. Relax. That's our natural state. We're also meant to enjoy our lives. If you are suffering, I guarantee you are not enjoying your life. If you're not observing yourself, if you don't know yet about self-observation, I guarantee you're not enjoying your life. You're suffering. Okay, so Christ said this exact same thing, and so did Buddha. So that between the two of them, that pretty much covers all religion throughout the planet. If you want to bring in the Islam bit, that's what Sufism is. Sufism is self-observation. So there you go. I'm pretty sure we just about covered the entire planet, but people get it wrong. Human beings, instead of asking, what did Christ actually teach? What did he actually say? They want to argue about and produce TV shows about, what did Jesus look like? Who cares what he looked like? Who cares? So maybe he was orange. Who cares? Doesn't matter. It's the words that he spoke. However, if you go to any local church, synagogue, temple, if you go anywhere and say, what did Christ actually say? They're not going to know. And stick around this channel and you'll hear it. You'll hear what he actually said. Or they'll tell you what he said and they'll twist it and mangle it for their own, to maintain their own authority over you, their own power, their own control, because that's what churches do. They don't know anything about moment-to-moment impartial self-observation. If they did, they would talk about it. When's the last time you went to any church, any temple, anywhere, and heard someone speak about moment-to-moment impartial self-observation? Answer, never. They don't speak about it because they don't know about it. If they knew about it, they would be different. They would be happy. They would probably walk out of the church and they would finally know who they were, and they wouldn't have to pretend to be some religious phony, which is exactly what they are. You can, and please do, set me up, put me up with any so-called religious expert on the planet. Stand me next to the Pope, and I'll say, Pope, what is, tell me about self-observation. Go ahead. I'm waiting, right? Put me up against any bishop, cardinal, anybody, rabbi, anybody, okay? They're wearing a Halloween costume, okay? They're a bunch of phonies. Please set it up. If you know these people, hook it up. You know where I am. You know where you can find me. Go to the website and you can send me a message through the website, through the contact page. But I'm telling you, what these people are doing and what they have done for more than 2,000 years, starting with the setup, the phony trial, the arrest, the torture, and then ultimately the murder of Christ, what these religious experts have been doing since day one has been nothing short of criminal, because they don't know, but they pretend to know. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. Well, what do you think the Father is doing? He's sinning too. What do you think that priest is doing? If he's deceiving you, if he's pretending to be something he's not, which he is, he's committing a big sin. I wouldn't want to be in his shoes for all the tea in China. Not even close. Wow. So anyway, there's your answer to there's your answer to what is self-observation. And you don't need advice. You need awareness. We always go to the experts, don't we? We always think, well, they play the role so well. How could we not? You know, I'm the church official. Gee, he must know something. He's the director of the local church. Trust me, boil it down. He doesn't know anything. If he's telling you, if he gets up and speaks every week about impartial self-observation, then he knows. But if he's not, if he never talks about observation, he doesn't know what he's talking about. So you can still go to church. You can do anything you want. People like to dress up and go out and go have breakfast, whatever. Everyone has their routine. Everything has what they like to do. Just don't go there with high expectations that you're going to change, because you're not. They'll tell you a nice little comforting message, but they won't tell you what you need to hear. What you need to hear, the first thing you need to hear is the last thing you want to hear, which is the first thing you need to hear is that there's something really incredibly wrong with you because you're suffering and you're not supposed to be suffering. Christ came here to say that. Buddha put an end to suffering also. He said, the problem is not exterior to me. The problem is inside me. And he said that before Christ ever showed up. Christ, as a young man, traveled on foot, by foot, and with a group of people, including, other young boys with elders, and they walked, and he walked from where he was born north. He went and studied at the feet of the Buddhist masters. Christ did. He studied Buddhism. They sat him down and they told him all the ancient secrets. The ancient secrets are being revealed to you now at the Happiness Habit channel. That's what we do. We're talking about now what they were talking about then. It's the same thing. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all else will be given unto you. The kingdom of heaven exists inside you. It's from your sternum up. This is where your awareness is, right? We were just talking about awareness. Awareness is this part of you from your sternum up. It's in your mind also, but awareness is not 100% of the mind. Awareness is also from your heart, from where you breathe. Remember, Christ said, the kingdom of heaven is closer than your own breath. He was right. It's here. It is you. You are the kingdom of heaven if you're living in a state of awareness, which is not, that doesn't mean to walk around going, hey, guess what I learned today? I'm in the kingdom of heaven. Because you're not, because you're still suffering. Okay, meaning you still feel shame, guilt. You feel guilty about things. You get angry left and right. Don't tell me you don't. You know you do. Resentment. You feel jealousy. Your friend calls you and says, we just bought a brand new red Toyota, and we just got the new Acura, whatever. I just bought a new truck. Oh, Oh, he beat me to the punch. I was going to go get a new truck. Oh, see, that pains me because I'm still on that low level where the lower emotions are. The lower emotions are painful, but with self-awareness, I can raise my emotional level to where I'm not dealing with the lower emotions anymore. Therefore, I'm not in any pain anymore. I used to be. I used to be camped out at the level of lower pain because I didn't know how to get out of it. But the way out of it is well known. Come to this channel because it's explained every time we get together. It's explained how to get out in all of the talks that are already that have already been recorded. So if you keep self-observing, you will raise your level. You will go from the emotional level of, got it, shame, guilt, apathy, forgot that one, grief, fear, anxiety. We're going up. Desire, what I want, what I crave, my desires. See, all that's painful. Oh, I want that, but I can't have it. And because I can't have it, and a part of me still wants it, I'm in pain. And again, we're not born to be in pain over anything. We're born to be in a state of ease, of relaxation, which is very pleasant. We're born to be happy, which doesn't mean ha 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 ha. More like contentment. The better word than happiness is contentment. But contentment, the alliteration, happiness can provide alliteration with the word habits. Therefore, the happiness habit. But happiness doesn't mean you're walking around going, "Gee, I'm so happy, I can scream." It's the state is more like if you have to put it into a word, into a language, contentment. I'm content. Remember the Prince song? Sometimes I'm just like my mother. She's never satisfied. That's from the song Purple Rain. And it's true. And I understand that feeling of not being satisfied no matter what I do. I'm not satisfied, right? So let's go up. Fear, desire, anger, pride, haughtiness, arrogance, right? And then above that, the emotional level of courage. Courage. Courage is where it all changes. Courage is right in the middle. Courage is, I think they call it a fulcrum. If you have a seesaw, right, the fulcrum is in the middle. Without the fulcrum, you wouldn't have a seesaw going up and down like that. Courage is right in the middle between the lower painful emotions and the higher pleasing emotions. And then the pleasing emotions are, we'll do this briefly because we got to get to the topic. Neutrality. Above courage is the emotion of neutrality. I never knew that was an emotion, but it is. Neutrality. Willingness. That's nice. Willingness. Like I'm willing to do something. Wow, that's a different feeling, right? Wow, that's different. That feels pretty good. Acceptance. Acceptance. That means I'm actually accepting things as they are. Wow, that feels really good. Acceptance. I'm at the emotional level at which I can accept things. Acceptance. Wow, that's reason, which is getting close to wisdom, huh? Reason. Like I can see, I have insight. I'm starting to see things as they are, as they actually are. Above that, love. Huh. Love is an emotional level. It's a higher vibrational, emotional level of love. And it's way up there. And people all the time say, oh, I love you. We're not on the emotional, vibrational level of love, are we? We're not there. And yet we tell each other, oh, I love you. That's a lie. I don't love you because I'm not at that level. How can I love you? But it's possible. Remember, Christ said, what I have, you can have also? Yeah, he had it. Because why? Because he observed himself like nobody's business. In other words, you, if you stick with this and you work with this, you can take this as far as you want. If you get really involved with this, you buy the books, study, listen to the talks, you work on yourself. It's self-work. I can't help you with, I can point the way, but I can't do your work for you. You can raise your emotional level from where you are. Wait, when you got fear in you, you got anger in you, right? You know your level, you know where you're at. You feel guilt about things, grief, apathy, you know where you're at. So, okay, now I know where I'm at. That's good to know. That's a good thing. Now, if I work on myself, if I observe myself in action as I go through my day, I can raise my level. And as I raise my level, I start feeling better and better and better and better. And I don't even know why. I didn't win the lottery. I didn't buy a new car. I didn't buy a new outfit, a new $80 red dress at Macy's on the sale. I didn't buy anything. I don't have any plans for later. There's nothing that I've done to make myself feel better. And yet I feel better because I've been working on myself today. I've been self-observing. When I work hard on myself today, it gives me a better tomorrow. And we're always putting things off. Well, this sounds kind of, maybe I'll look at it later. And truth says, no, do it now, which was our topic last week. Time is of the essence. Get this before much more time elapses. And I need to get to the topic before much more time elapses too. And I'm well aware of the time, and I'm not gonna take any more of yours. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna condense today's story, what we were gonna get into, which is you don't need advice from human beings. You don't, and you'll hear why pretty soon. You don't need advice from these so-called experts. You need awareness, because you yourself, when you are in a state of awareness, you become the only expert you need on every topic under the sun. Okay. Your car breaks down, you need to change a tire. Okay, I get it. We're not all experts at mechanics and changing the oil and getting a new tire on my car. Practical things, okay, that's fine. I get it. I need an expert for that. So change the spark plugs in my car, right? Okay, I'll let the pro handle it. I don't want to get greasy and dirty. And when I was a kid, I did that kind of stuff. I don't do it now. Okay, so I call in the expert. We're not talking about that kind of expert. We're talking about going to one of these so-called religious experts, or even a life counselor, or even a psychologist or a psychiatrist. When you start to understand self, when you know self, you're going to know more about yourself, and therefore more about other people. than any counselor or psychiatrist that you know. I've sat and chewed the fat with several counselors, psychiatrists, psychologists. None of them know anything about self-observation. They know the textbooks, they know the books, but they really don't understand. They don't understand themselves. I noticed all of them were like that. They didn't know self, therefore they really didn't know other. If you want to know other, you first have to study self, because once you know self, once you know what makes you tick by way of self-observation, you're going to know how other people tick also. You become an expert in your own inner geography, you'll become an expert in how other people operate too, and why they do the things that they do. Right now, this is all just words for you. But once you get busy with this, once you start smelling the bacon because you're doing your own work, you'll see what I mean. It's just about simultaneous. The they say the deeper you go, the deeper you dig into your own, system, the higher you go into heaven. Meaning you do the work, you do the self work, and you feel the resultant feeling is you feel so much better. Which means the kingdom of heaven, right? That's it. That's what Christ was saying. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. Put first your self awareness, and all else will be given unto you. Meaning, you'll be in a state of awareness. Nature herself, the universe, the cosmos, God sees that you're working on yourself, notices it instantly, comes to you, and it's all energy, right? everything is energy. So you're working on your own energy. So then higher energy comes to you, and it helps you, it assists you as you go through your day. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all else will be given unto you. That's what he said. And he spoke the truth. And he spoke the pure truth. He spoke with authority. He spoke with authority. When Christ spoke, it was like E.F. Hutton. People listened. You could not help but listen. And he told people what was what. And we get this, we're fed this lie that he was gentle with people. And he was, but he was also rough too. He was rough and gruff, and he would, use force in his language with people. He would get rightly emotional with people and say, wake up. He would do everything short of grab them by the shoulders and shake them and say, wake up, you're asleep. You insist that you're awake, but you're not. You're asleep. That's why you're suffering. You suffer because you're asleep. He would do everything short of grabbing them by the shoulders and yelling at them. He had to wake people up. So you don't need advice from any human being on the planet, period. You need awareness, because once you have awareness, then you know everything from yourself, or you understand. Your understanding increases 100-fold, 1,000-fold. Clarity comes to you. You see things the way they are, right? So we're going to talk, the amount of time that we have left, I think we've got like 15 minutes left. We're going to talk about Socrates, okay? Good old Socrates. And I remember him as somebody I was forced to read in junior high, I think, 8th, 9th grade. We had to read Socrates. I didn't know, why are they giving us this to read? Why? At gunpoint always, right? Jack, you will read this book by Monday morning, 50 pages and write a report. And you're like, it's a terrible way to teach people, by force, threat of punishment, threat of failure. You're going to get an F if you don't do this report on Socrates. But anywho, he was, as we know, a classical Greek philosopher from Athens. He's known today as the founding father of Western philosophy. And he asked a lot of questions. Socrates was naturally inquisitive. He didn't ask questions. Have you ever known the type of person, maybe you sat in classrooms, maybe university, college, whatever, and they ask questions just to be asking questions, just to be, try to, hey, look at me, everybody. I'm relating with the professor, or I'm the one asking the questions, like I'm so important. He didn't ask questions because he wanted to sound important or appear like he was intelligent. Not at all. He was inquisitive. He had a lot of questions and he wasn't afraid of asking. And he asked everybody. He, and he asked because he genuinely did not know. Socrates by nature was an inquisitive person. And most of us aren't. We just accept it and, oh, well, that's the way it is. And we just put your head down and slave away at your job. And, people count the minutes until it's dinner time and then wolf down dinner and try to look around for a little entertainment, then go to bed and repeat the next day the exact same thing, right? But every once in a while, there comes an actual, factual, intelligent person, and that was Socrates, And so he was a young man, and his questions became very direct. He really wanted, he was like, he asked the question that we covered last week, which is, what is my purpose? What am I doing here? And we answered that either last week or the week before. That was our topic. What is my purpose? Well, your purpose in life is to learn how to self-observe. Period. That's it. That's why you were put here. To wake up. Awaken thou that sleepest. To wake up is why we're here. Not to make a lot of money, not to get married and have 8 kids, not to procreate, not to repopulate the planet, which is already overpopulated. It's none of that. You can do that. It's okay, but that's not your purpose. Your purpose is to learn how to wake up. And how many people do we have watching with us today? Okay. I mean, this is a vital message that people need to hear, and nobody tunes in, right? Get used to it, because that's how it is. And that's okay. The fewer, the truer. We don't want, the Rose Bowl Stadium tuning into us. We don't need that. We're not here for high volume. We're here for one. And if that one is you, then fantastic. That's all you need. But I'm just saying, people, they don't want to hear about truth or anything. They don't want to hear about impartial self-observation. They don't want to hear about awareness. They already think they're awake, and yet they're on their 3rd divorce. Their kids hate them. They're in debt up their tailpipe. But I know everything. He still knows everything. You're not going to tell him anything. Are you kidding me? He's a brick wall. It's like talking to a brick wall. So some people have ears to hear and eyes to see. And if that's you, then I'm telling you, get on your hands and knees and kiss the ground 1,000 times and then do it again, because you're really fortunate. So Socrates asked the right questions. What is life actually about? Why am I here? Who am I? Who am I? He didn't know. With self-observation, when you start becoming aware of yourself as you go through your day, you're going to find out who you are. And you're never going to want to leave. You're never going to want to leave your own company. You're going to feel so good in your own company, you'll never want to leave. How's that for a guarantee? If you do the work, you'll feel that way. I never want to leave my own company. I like myself. I like my company. I live alone. I have nothing to do with my neighbors. I say hi, goodbye. Yeah, nice weather we're having. Yeah, well, have a nice day. That's it. I don't have anything to do with people because I know how low they are. And I sleep like a baby, and my health is good, and I'm happy. I'm 63, and I'm happy. And I have nothing that this world tells me that I need to be happy. The marriage, the kids, the big money, the mansion, all that nonsense that this world says you and I need to be happy. That's bull. You don't need any of that. You don't need anything material to be happy. You need to you need to become aware of yourself. You don't need an expert to tell you about this. Okay. So what did Socrates do? He had all these questions. He's a young man. He's like, I have to figure out the answers. He visited the experts of his day. He went to see all the people who were supposed to know, right? The experts. We have experts today. A lot of them are on TV this morning. Jesus loves you, all that. Send us some money is the next sentence they say, right? Oh my God. I would not want to be in their shoes at the moment of their physical demise, when they die, in other words, when they physically die, I wouldn't want to be in their shoes. How did you spend your life, Joe? Well, I was pretending to be a middleman between you, God, and all these human beings. Oh, you were you? You know, wow. Guess who's coming back to this low, painful planet for another run till he learns his lesson? Joe. He's coming back here, right? So, anyway, Socrates went to the top teachers. He went to see the senior, most advanced philosophers of his day. He met with all the authorities. He interviewed the politicians, and he asked them all, what is life actually about? You tell me, what is life about? What am I supposed to be doing with my life? And what he found out amazed him. These so-called experts' answers were vague, unclear. Well, what you're really supposed to do is become an expert in your field and then go out and get a job and then walk around in the flowing robes and be seen as an expert and be known as an expert, right? We've got those types today, right? Their answers were even contradictory. One expert would say well, life is about this, and another expert would say, no, life is about this, Socrates. Okay. So he was like totally confused. He's like, these experts, these people who are supposed to know, they pass themselves off as these pillars of society. They can't give me a straight answer to my very honest, basic question. What am I supposed to be doing here? Socrates started to see, it really dawned on him that these so-called experts did not know. Remember that line. The experts, put that word in quotes, do not know. They don't know. One of the chapters in this book is the experts do not know. It's all about religion and church and all that. They don't know. If you go, again, I think we said it earlier, if you go to a temple, church, you're sitting there in that stiff wooden pew, and he's going on, and he's up there in the pulpit for 45 minutes. I saw one once waving a smoking bag around. It was loaded with incense. I'm like, my God, what are you doing? It's all mechanical. They're dressed up like it's Halloween, and they appear very solemn. So they're doing all this. All that is phony, baloney nonsense. If people really had insight into organized religion, they would take a wrecking ball to it immediately. if people really saw, just like banks, same thing. If the average citizen really saw, you can apply the exact same facts to banks. If you really knew what banks did with your money and how much they paid you for in your savings account, you know, what they did with your money versus what they pay you to hold your money and they're investing your money, it's criminal. You would you would you would march in the streets. The same thing with the church, but it's so, you know, and there's one up here on the corner. You drive past it and there it is, the original corporate logo, Christ on the cross. They use that to affect you, to touch your lower emotions of guilt and apathy and shame. They shame you to park your car and walk into the church. Oh, Christ died for your sins. No, Christ died because of he was on the wrong end of a power play. The authorities hated Christ, the fact that he existed, because he was the real thing and they were a bunch of phonies. Christ was a threat to the authorities of his day. Christ would be a threat to the authorities of this day too. And people go, oh, gee, we can't wait till Jesus comes back. Guess what, folks? He ain't coming back. He doesn't need to come back. His message has already been, the seeds have been sown. He doesn't need to come back, because what he said, Buddha also said, and I know that even hearing that word, it really bothers some people, but it's true. They both teachers spoke about, tried to teach people moment to moment, impartial self-observation. It's impartial because I'm not judging what I see. If I see anger flash up in me, I'm not judging, oh, there I go again. I'm a terrible person. I just got angry again. I'm a horrible person. I'm impartial to what I see. It's very important. And the moment to moment part is very important too, because that means you need to self observe, not just at 8 a.m. on a Sunday. You need to be self observing all the time. And you keep doing it. You keep doing it. You keep working on yourself diligently. You tough on yourself. You work on yourself. And one day it'll snap inside of you. It'll become a habit. And then you'll never have to think about it. It'll just become part of what you do and what you are. you will roll out of bed in the morning and you'll be working on yourself already from the moment you feel the cold wood floor. I mean, I've got a cold wood floor, right? On your bare feet. And okay, I'm awake. Let's do it. Here comes another day. What can I learn about myself today that I didn't know yesterday, right? Get cracking with this because it'll save your life. It's really good for you. It's very healthy for you, right? So Socrates, what he did that was so unusual was he goes to see all these experts, and the experts, he's realizing they don't know anything. Even when they pretend to know, they don't know. Their answers are all nonsense. Socrates admitted his ignorance. Socrates said, I don't know. You know how this world is loaded with people who say, I know? Come to me, I'm the expert. I know. Or even in the family, two people will start fighting because one person says, well, I know, and another one says, you don't know that. I know it. You're not the expert. I'm the expert. And they'll fight over what they know. If they're fighting, they don't know anything because fighting is false. It's not fun at all. Fighting is horrible. All kinds of fighting. 2 people fighting or 20 million people fighting. That's not how we're supposed to be, right? So Socrates said, I don't know. I am willing to not know. So do that for a moment. Tell yourself right now. Just say it to yourself. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I am willing to not know the answer. I don't know. You can even imagine it. Right use of imagination. Hey, Jack, what's the capital of Zimbabwe? I don't know. You know how freeing that feels when you say I don't know? It feels so free. It feels so good. You I just released all the pressure that was being put on me to come up with some answer. So the key is, I don't know. I am willing to not know the answer. It's like a state of emotional, psychological surrender. Something is asked of me, Jack, what's fill in the blank. Jack, how hot should the oven be if I'm going to bake a cake? I don't know. I don't know if it's 350 or 400 or 425. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Jack, we're in Kansas and we want to drive to LA. How do we get there? I don't know. Whatever it is, I don't know. It lets you off the hook. And the other person, their reaction, however they react to you saying, I don't know, their reaction might be like, oh, he doesn't know. Okay. If they really want to know, they'll go find out. They'll Google it or whatever. They'll ask somebody else. But you're letting yourself off the hook. Look what Socrates said. Look what he did. He said, I don't know. He emptied himself of himself. He put his ego, his false self, he pushed in the clutch. He said, I'm not going to play this game of me pretending to be an expert. I'm going to do the opposite of what all these experts are doing just to see what happens. So he was willing to say, I don't know. That's something you and I can do, huh? I don't know. Wow, that's very pleasing. That's very relaxing. He was willing to not know the answer in a world loaded with people who mechanically, because it's what we're taught, that's what we see other people do. People mechanically say, well, I'm the expert. Socrates comes along and says, well, I don't know. I'm willing to not know. All you people want to know, okay, you go know. I'm gonna stay over here and not know and empty myself of myself just to see what happens. Right? He had no need to appear like he was some kind of expert. Okay? And that's the beginning of his intelligence, and that's the beginning of intelligence for me and you. Be willing to not know the answer. Okay? Because when I'm willing to not know the answer, that allows the answer to come in. And it'll always come in from on high. There is, you and I have problems, right? We all have problems. There is either a higher solution. There is either a higher spiritual solution to all of our problems, or there's no solution at all. If we're going to solve any problem, if you and I are ever going to solve any problem that we have, like an emotional problem, a psychological problem, a mental problem, the answer is going to come from a higher spiritual place is where it's going to come from. It's not going to come from the level of human beings, from the so-called experts. I'm having trouble with someone in my family. I go to a human being, expert, a counselor, and I talk to the counselor about it. What can the counselor tell me about my problem with someone in my home when the counselor is having problems with somebody in his home, right? Or other kinds of problems? I'm on the same level. I'm human, he's human. So all I'm going to get is a human answer. I have to go higher. If I want an answer to my problem, I have to go higher. How do I go higher? I self-observe, because the kingdom of heaven exists within me, within you. This is where I ask the question. I don't ask the question on the human level. I'm going to get a human answer to a human problem. So how is the problem going to get solved? Answer: it won't get solved, because there's either a higher spiritual solution to my problem, or there's no solution at all. Simple, basic facts. So Socrates, he stopped looking outside of himself for answers to life. Socrates did what you and I need to do. Socrates turned inward. Say, I can't go out there for the answer. I guess I have to come in here for the answer. Oh boy, is that a powerful, beautiful, fantastic number one lesson. That is everything. Okay. That is everything. Socrates turned inward. Okay. The problem is in here, and the answer is in here too. And once the answer starts coming in, which is self-awareness itself, awareness will dissolve the problem. Truth dissolves all problems on contact. Truth is like the miracle cure-all. There's a problem? Well, work harder on yourself. Come home to yourself. Work on your awareness. And then tell me about the problem that you're having. You won't be able to, because the problem will disappear, including problems with other people, especially problems with other people. You'll get to the point, you start working, you start doing this, you won't have problems with other people at all. Primarily because you'll stop having very much to do with other people. You'll go to work, you'll do your job, you'll make your money, you got to pay the rent and pay for the groceries and all that. Yeah, we have bills, we have to go to work. We have to deal with people then. But awareness helps me tremendously at work. My work personally, I'll speak personally, once I learned about self-observation and once I was doing it, oh man, I started doing my work like a hot knife going through butter. I could finish all of my work by noon. I'd be done. I got really efficient at everything. I remember taking on a second job, and I started making more money too. That's not the reason that I got into this, learning about self-observation. It was a byproduct of I had more energy than I knew what to do with too. So I had more time, and with that time, I made more money, and I just put it in the bank. Just whatever, back to the bank, right? So Socrates turned inward, and he did what you and I need to do. See, and Socrates was not Buddha or Christ or any of these people. He was Socrates. He was his own person. So we're learning now about, and just a very inquisitive person trying to figure out the answers to life, who finally said, I can't I can't go to these experts. The experts do not know. Therefore, I'm going to be willing to not know anything. I don't know. And therefore, he started to work on himself. He started to work for self awareness. He started questioning himself. See, instead of questioning the experts, he started questioning himself. He started watching his own thoughts, reactions, assumptions, beliefs. What are the things that I believe in? Is it possible that some of what I believe may be untrue? Right? People think, here's some examples of false beliefs. People think, well, I was born because I'm supposed to be a big success in this life and make a lot of money. I, if I'm right, that's a belief. Is it true or not? You know what I mean? You've got to ask yourself. Here's another belief. If I make a lot of money and own a lot of property, then I'll be happy. Is that true? Has having money and owning property made me happy? Has that raised my emotional level to the level of happiness that we went over earlier? Not yet. It's supposed to. People say it's supposed to, but it really hasn't, right? The only thing that'll raise my emotional level is self-observation, right? Here's another belief. If I find the right partner and I get married and start a family, well, that'll make me happy, right? You answer that for yourself. I don't know. I'm not married. I don't have any kids. I'm happy as hell. I didn't go that route. Another belief, people will go, that expert over there, that person who's the expert, he's wearing that uniform. He's got that title. He's the CEO, or he's whatever, he's, I'm sure he knows what he's supposed to be doing in life, right? He sure looks very well put together. I guarantee you, if he doesn't know, and if he's not practicing moment to moment self-observation, he is just another miserable, suffering human being. You were not born to live that way, right? So pull the camera back. How many false beliefs am I carrying around? How many false beliefs am I living from? How many false beliefs do I have inside of me that I'm still living from that are actually ruining my life because I'm living from them? If I believe something, I'm living from it. It's causing me to behave certain ways, and I'm bearing the brunt of those ways, right? Socrates came to a simple conclusion. He said the people who claim to know what life is all about, they don't know. If they did know, they'd be different. They'd be happy, right? If they knew about self-observation, they'd be happy. They wouldn't need to pretend, which Socrates could see them doing. You know when people are pretending too, feigning happiness. You've been to the parties with the relatives and, the phony ones. You can see right through them, right? So Socrates, his self-understanding, once he started to know self, led to automatic other understanding. He started to see that other people were suffering just as much as he was, right? This is what it's insight into the human condition, the condition that you and I live under. It's insight. Awareness, self-awareness provides insight into myself. When I'm observing, I know what that person's like too. When I can read my emotional level, my emotional state, I can read his or hers too. I can just see it. It's written all over their face. I just glance and I see what they're going through. I see where they're at. There's an angry man. Well, I'm staying away from him. I'm not going anywhere near him because I may be his next target. The angry doesn't matter who he is. You know, you go to work, you some angry person, you start working on yourself, you'll see these people and they're walking around, they're lost. They're in a lot of pain. People fight because they're in a lot of pain and they don't know what to do with that pain. They're supposed to be observing it and seeing through it, but they don't know that because self-observation is not taught. So anyway, that's a good story about Socrates. You know, he finally said the unexamined life is not worth living. If I'm not examining myself, if I'm not in a state of self-awareness, if I'm not observing myself, it's not worth living because it's too painful. It's not worth it. He's very well known for that one quote. He said other things too, but he's really well known for that. The unexamined life is not worth living. My mom died May 4th, which is like 6 weeks ago now. I would talk to her about this gently, little tiny pieces, you know. She did not have ears to hear or eyes to see, bless her. She didn't. You know, I tried to talk to her about it. She didn't want to hear anything about it. I saw she put up the brick wall. Quick, let's not talk about that, Jack. We're going to talk about what I want to talk about. I want to go tomorrow. I'm going to go shopping with your aunt, blah, 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 whatever, right? My mom lived to 93, but you know, Socrates said it. The unexamined life is not worth living. When my mom died, the last 6 months of her life were not very pretty. Okay. I don't want to die like that. I don't want to die like that. I want to learn from her mistake of having an unexamined life. I want to examine my life now. Now, I want to use my time now while I still can, right? And the real question is, am I willing to look inside of myself and see what I'm really like inside? And am I willing to keep doing that, to keep observing myself over and over and over again until I finally start to see what makes me tick, right? The kingdom of heaven is within. Look within. If you want to be happy in life, you have to go where happiness is. Happiness exists inside you. Happiness is an emotional level. Believe it or not, it may seem like it's mashed down, but it's inside you. You can make contact with it. It's going to take some work. It's going to take some effort. Okay? You're going to have to get to work. Put first the kingdom of heaven, meaning first in life, observe yourself in action, and all else will be given unto you. First, observe yourself, and then the universe itself, nature herself, higher energy will come to you and assist you, help you throughout your day, help you as you go to work and deal with these other people. I've experienced that. I've felt it. I've been observing myself, right? And then I have to deal with somebody, I have to speak with them, whatever. I have I have been assisted by higher energy. Higher energy has come in and solved problems for me on the spot. And I'm telling you, I didn't lift a finger. It happened. It continues to happen. Higher energy wants to tell you direct you through life so that you don't suffer, so that you have a great life, so that you're happy, so that you're healthy. That's what higher energy wants to do. Higher energy wants to think for you. How about that? That's a shock. What do you mean higher energy wants to think for me? What about me? Well, the false self, the ego self is is gonna is gonna dissolve. It needs to be dissolved. Your false self has given you every problem there is under the sun. Your false self is why you suffer. Self observation dissolves the false self. Okay? Why do you think? I don't want to get into that, but anyway, yeah, we'll get into that next time. But it's unbelievable, you know. If we could only see what we have stumbled upon, if we could only see what we have actually discovered, right? The only thing that you and I ever need to do is self study, self examine, come home to myself, observe myself. With every breath I take, you'll notice you take, like, every few seconds there's a breath. With every breath I take, remember the police song? Every breath you take, no, 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 no. With every breath I take, I can be coming home to myself. I'm telling you, nothing feels better. Nothing is healthier for us. Nothing is better for us because it puts us in alignment. We're finally living in alignment, in right order, in natural order, the way nature said, right? Put first the kingdom of heaven. Self observe first in everything that you do. Every waking moment, self observe, and all else will be given unto you. Meaning, then the universal energy will come in and it will guide you through your day. It will assist you through your day. It will help you through your day, right? So, you know, um, we had a good class today, a really good, far reaching class. We started out talking about self observation. We ended talking about self observation and some pretty good things in between. And we're going to wrap it up for this week. Stay on this channel, listen to some of these videos. You might want to consider availing yourself of this information. I don't do this for my health. I do this to spread the word, right? Water flows into a lake, a river flows into a lake, and then at the other side of the lake, the river flows back out of the lake. I'm just doing my part as part of that water coming down the river into the lake. Okay, we're here for a while and then we're going to depart. So, that's how truth works. That's how life works. So, avail yourself of this information. Visit the website, jackcarterbooks.com. Check out my books on self observation. You can start with the happiness habit. That's a great way to start. Okay. Send me a message on the contact page on the website. You have any questions? Send me a note. Okay. I'll answer it. There's another book on the website called You're Done with the Past. You are done with the past. It means you're taking that door and you're just closing it because the past does not matter. The only thing that matters is this moment right now, because this moment right now is a moment in awareness. This moment right now is a moment in eternity. If you want to live forever, you can. Not in this physical body, but your essence, your soul, your state of awareness can live forever. That's you, in quotes. That's the you that can live forever. This body's going to go, thankfully. Goodbye. I don't need you anymore, body. You served your purpose. You housed me while I was here on this planet. I'll get old and I don't need you anymore. I'm going on to other things. Thank you, body. You were a good friend. You helped me. But other than that, bye. I'm going on. Life goes on, right? If someone dies and people cry, they're sad. Well, you should be happy that they died. They don't have to live in this place anymore, this horrible planet that we live on. Or they're going to get married and they cry tears of happiness. Well, that's when you should be crying tears of like, don't do it, whatever, God, right? We laugh at the wedding and cry at the funeral, and we got it switched exactly in reverse. So remember, keep working on yourself. Do the for an exercise, do the doorknob exercise, which is every time you come in and out of a door, you're going to use your key to unlock your car, or you're going to unlock your front door. Know that you're using the key on your car. I know a lot are electronic now, but every time you use your key, come in your front door, whatever, unlock something, know that you're holding that key. Okay. The next thing you do, know that you're doing it. Work, strive for a state of awareness. Okay. This is Jack Carter. I'll see you next time.